What's happening, everybody? Trey here, and today reactions to the classics. It is time to do a top 10 list to one of the most famous musicians and artists in Belgium and France history. We have Jacques Brel, top 10, ladies and gentlemen. How many times am I going to mess up these French pronunciations? You're going to have to stick around to find out. But I'm looking forward to diving into this, man. Getting a bit cultured here. And I want to shout out our longtime patron and friend of the channel, Ian, for curating and submitting and doing some write-ups for this list. Just perusing it a little bit. It looks like I'm going to be in for an absolute treat here, man. So thank you to Ian for this. Be sure to show him some props and love for suggesting this for us to showcase today. And let's just get into the quick facts, man, because I didn't know really anything about Mr. Jacques Brel. And once you read his pedigree and his standing, man, you're going to be impressed. So he was a Belgian singer, songwriter, actor, and director who composed and performed literate, thoughtful, and theatrical songs that generated a large devoted following, initially in Belgium and France, and later throughout the world. He's considered a master of the modern chanson, which I looked up and is like a French song that is very lyrically driven. Although he recorded most of his songs in French and occasionally in Dutch, he became an influence on English-speaking songwriters such as Scott Walker and David Bowie. English translations of his songs were also recorded by people including Bowie, Walker, Ray Charles, Judy Collins, John Denver, Frank Sinatra, Andy Williams, the Kingston Trio. So that just shows you the breadth and depth of the influence that Jacques had. And Ian noted that Jacques was an artist I discovered when I was trying to learn French, having moved to the Walloon, Belgium, and asked my Belge friends and colleagues at the military base I worked at who was the archetypal Belgian singer. The musical form was initially alien to me with the mystery of not understanding what the lyrics meant and a lack of percussion, but I grew to love the sophisticated and often dark subject matter and how fresh and different this popular music was to the four-bar blues-inspired rock I was used to. Ian also wants to dedicate this list to Paul, the late proprietor of the Le Chant des Fous on the Rue de Nîmes in Mons. Man, how bad did I butcher that? Who knows? But he was a former religious studies teacher who became a landlord. Ian notes, I think, though my French was terrible, so I may have gotten it wrong. And he made a very welcoming, creative, and artistic space for locals and expats alike. So thank you for that write-up, Ian. And Ian also has just a few sentences on each track as we get to them. I'm going to have the lyrics pulled up. Ian was kind enough to provide links for some solid English translations of these songs as well. And man, we're just going to get going into this. Hopefully the music won't be taken out due to copyright, but if it is, there will also be a link in the description to Vimeo to check out the full video with the music included. But I think that covers it. Let's get going, ladies and gentlemen. Starting in at number 10 on this list, we have J'arrive, which Ian said, while the Beatles were busy with the White Album, Brel was recording the '68 J'arrive album, and the title track has 1950s film soundtrack feeling arrangement. This strong song plays to Brel's strengths with a powerful chorus and complex lyrics. And the only Jacques I've heard is a live record. I think it's like Olympia 64 or something along those lines. It's included in the 1001 albums to listen to before you die book, which I'm slowly but surely going through. And I remember enjoying that for what it was, but I'm looking forward to dive into his best work now. So let's get this one started. J'arrive, bringing it at number 10 here. Wow, what a way to start this list off, man. I'm in for a treat if the other songs are anywhere in this type of quality, man. I was not surprised by how much I enjoyed it, but I was really taken by how great the arrangement was. Those strings that it seemed to always be on ice, always be ready to kind of dance on up whenever they needed to, and that horn section that would come in. I see where you're talking about with like 1950s film soundtrack. I think that was a great comparison there, Ian. Very extravagant it felt as well, very grand, especially in that chorus whenever Jacques really put his heart and soul into J'arrive, J'arrive. Like, I just wanted to belt it out as well, which, translates in English to I'm coming. So J'arrive, like, I'm here, man. I have arrived type of thing. And from the lyrics, early on, he knows all of my friends are now departing. That's just a footnote. He notes men can cry, but women reign. And then we get into the chorus. I'm here, I came, but really would have liked just one more time, just to drag my bones towards the sunlight, to tomorrow, to spring. You almost wonder if there's a sense, and this might be lost in translation a bit, but is he arriving in like a heaven-like state? Who knows? Who knows what the case is, or is he arrived back to his family, to his friends, whatever the case may be? I don't know, but he questions here, at least this translation says, but why? Why now? Why today? Why am I still alive? I'm here, and of course I've arrived. I never seem to be able to do anything but arrive. Man, that's a a heady lyric right there, man. What a way to start off this list. And at 5 minutes, man, it did not overstay its welcome. And we're gonna stay on J'arrive, the record, and now go to number 9 on this list. We have Vaisseau, and Ian said the vocal gymnastic from the almost spoken verses and about the only song where an accordion isn't annoying makes this such a fast-paced and enjoyable song. So different from what I would normally listen to. The lyrics make me smile, especially the line about hating the accordion. Man, an accordion action kind of blended with this. I wonder if this will be similar to the J'arrive title track and the strings and, just orchestration that we got. But let's hear what we got. Vaisseau bringing it here. I'm with you, Ian. Usually the accordion is a huge no-go for me unless Tom Waits is employing it. But on this track, it works so well with how... I guess you could say almost frantic the lyricism was, man. Brel was just like firing these lines off so fast, and just it interweaved with the notes that the accordion was playing just so well. What I was getting from the story as well, they're traveling all these different places. They want to go to Vaisseau, and then they leave Vaisseau, and then he notes they go to the mother, and he wants to see the sister, but they never see the sister, and just almost kind of getting the vibe of you have these expectations or you have these hopes, and they always get dashed for some reason or another, and then that just kind of takes your mood out. He notes, I hate the mainstream music, and then as Ian pointed out, he's like, and I hate the sound of the accordion as well, which I thought was just very cheeky, since obviously the accordion was the main driving force that we had in this track, man. Yet again, just such an energy, and you couldn't help but kind of get a bit energized from that track, and the way that Brel was able to so beautifully use that French language, man. We ain't doing something in English like that. That's for sure. So that was impressive, man. And now we're gonna go to number 8 on the list, and let's see how bad I butcher this. We got the Sans Exigences. Exigences. I don't know. Brel will say it for me, and then I'll be up to knowing what it actually is. But Ian noted this was released on his final studio record called Brel, recorded while suffering from lung cancer, and it explores death and love and life. The initially minimalistic harpsichord and organ accompaniment builds to be a second voice later in the song. The classical, almost ecclesiastical feel to the song about an unwanted lover, or perhaps something more complex. I feel out of my depth when listening to these final album tracks. All right, well, we got another English translation up here that I'll be following along with. Wow, what a touching track here coming in at number 8, and just the... I'll start off musically. I agree with you, Ian. I think that harpsichord and organ 1-2 punch started off very light, a bit droning on, and then as the song continued to progress, it's upped its tempo just a hair, and got a little bit louder. And yet again, we have Brel here going a bit more somber, which, knowing that this was his last record and what he was going through in his life, obviously that makes some sense. And lyrically, man, this is one to... It's quite a thought-provoking, a bit of an existential track here to get you thinking about the bigger things. He notes at the start, but then I was only her lover. I sort of lived from time to time, but little by little, less and less, I cursed at my last chance. He notes that the end is kind of coming here. In the wake of her indifference, I wanted her to be my only witness, but I must have lacked impudence for seeing me without demands. She thought I was without needs. What a final line of that verse right there. Seeing me without demand, she thought I was without needs. I'm getting through this track, whether his illness is coming forth in this or not. In any case, the character in this track is needing more help than I think he's letting on. Or maybe he is letting on a little bit, and maybe that lover can't provide the help or doesn't want to. That would be the real kind of kick in the gut. He notes, I found myself very lucky to live by my loneliness in company. I thought that was quite poetic as well. Then I became a habit of hers. I became the one that comes round when she was back from her takeoffs. And seeing me without demand, she thought I was without needs. I would really encourage y'all to bring up the English translation for this, because it adds so much to this song and just to the depths of what Brel had to have been experiencing at this point. Man, he then notes his relationship with God here, feeling that God can't do anything for him, and he notes, she left as do those birds. We find out after loving their hops that the day their wings spread out, they were bored between our hands. She left as if for a vacation. Since then, the sky's a bit low, and I'm dying from indifference, while she thinks she's clad herself in love. What a set of lyrics right there, man. I'd be shocked if this isn't among my favorite tracks at the end here. But we're already moving on to track number 7 here. Also from this same record, we got Vec Elegance, and Ian said another song where Brel uses his controlled enunciation and is balanced by the simple instrumentals arranged by Francois Rebeur. Powerful music from the late 70s, from a totally different genre from popular music in the English-speaking world of the same period. Brel has evolved from his earlier work, but retained his performance essence. Both this and the previous track were unfinished recordings only released on the expanded album later. Thankfully, they were not forgotten. So, man, yet again, we'll see what we got here. We got Avec Elegance bringing it up in here, man. And yet again, we've had 4 different songs, 4 different arrangements on these. And here we were obviously led by that piano that was going in. And Brel was yet again bringing a very passionate delivery, which I've come to really, I guess, expect and enjoy, just from the depths of it feels his heart, that even if I can't understand him, thankfully we got some great translations up here, but even if I couldn't, man, I'd still connect with the feeling that he's putting behind these tracks. And he notes here, man, here we got a guy who is getting older, and Ian put in the notes, because he didn't know whether Sean and I were going to do this together. My dad, there's a line in here that after 50 you should leave Paris, because my dad's about to turn 50 himself in about a month here. So I thought that line was pretty clever, man. And noting burning your dying youth, but acting as though you didn't need to, being desperate but still elegant, crawling some pubs in each of which you're the oldest person, giving heaps of tips to some silent barman, and nibbling usual meals with excited old buddies, being desperate but still elegant. So that whole idea too is also expounded upon in the end, where he talks about people kind of living with regrets in their life, living unhappily, being ready not to forgive yourself anymore. Yet again, there's not a lot of light subject matter here, man, which you wouldn't expect in a record that was recorded in this type of fashion. So a bit more of a subdued track musically, and I think it fit the subject matter quite well. And now we're gonna go to number 6 already on this list, we have what's it going to be, ladies and gents? Souvent. Let's see how bad I butchered that one. But the orchestra and glockenspiel, Ian notes, gives us a very retro feel in the studio recording that I found immediately intriguing, and it feels like a performance, not just a song. Complex subject matter where Brel grapples with sex and war, or maybe something else. I struggle with the meaning on this one. So let's see what we got here. All right, Suivant, coming in by Mr. Jacques Brel. It was cool to see him, and we're going to have a lot more live performances in the rest of this list here, and I think that it is a note just to how great a performer he is, man. Even though I couldn't, I didn't have I have the lyrics up now. I didn't, obviously, when I was watching, but he was just so expressive, so animated, and just had that charisma about him. He looks like a just consummate performer, and I think that you really get an appreciation for his enunciation and his just voice. It's a very unique voice that's very cutting, and it just it goes right to your heart, man. And especially on the title, Suivant. Lyrically, as I'm going, it translates to the next one, and I can kind of see what Ian was talking about kind of the sex and war interplay. He notes he was naked in his towel. He was only 20. I was losing my virginity in a portable brothel of an army on campaign. And then Suivant, next one. Then we kind of name drop Waterloo. Some more army references come into here, he says it was the hour where one regrets having missed school, and he says it is well enough to turn an army into a bunch of impotents. So again, since it's not in the native, I'm not 100% sure where we're going, but there is obviously the sense of the next one up. And coming in with that sexual and wartime. He notes all the next ones of the world should give each other hands. That's what I cry in the night in my delirium. So you could tell from that performance, he's pained, man. He's pained singing these words out. So I enjoyed that one, man. Quite a lot. Suivant. What a fun word to say as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are up to the next song, number 5 on this list. We got La Chanson de vous amantes? Amants. Yeah, we'll go with that. Ian says, a song where Brel's enunciation and beautiful piano accompaniment, again, work well with the theme of long-standing love. So let's cue this one up. Right, coming in at number 5, we have the Song of the Old Lovers. And here, yet again, I mean, you put Jacques' voice with a beautiful, piano melody that we had here, such as this. That's quite a somber tune, and kick up the orchestration about midway through the track. I think that's about a surefire recipe for success musically, as there is, man. Yet again, emotionally dense, and as you get into the lyrics, I think that reflects that. He notes, of course, there were storms after 20 years of love. It's crazy love. So from the jump, we know these two lovers have been through it, man. Notes all the times that you packed your bags, all the times I took off. He notes nothing resembled to me anymore. You had lost the taste for water, and me the one of conquest. So these two lovers who have been through it all, man, almost seemingly at the end of the rope. And he notes, but my love, my sweet, my tender, my marvelous love, from the clear dawn until the end of day, I love you still. You know I love you. I mean, like I'm saying, man, all these lyrics just hold the test of time, man. And I gotta bring some of these English translations whenever I'm trying to spit game with the ladies. I hopefully they won't be familiar with Brel's work and know that I'm a fraud. But anyway, man, really enjoyed that tune. I like the versatility that we're already seeing, in this list from Jacques with the different musical arrangements that he's bringing forth. But now I'm going to take Spotify down, because the rest from here on out is going to be live performances, ladies and gentlemen. Got 4 left, and number 4 going to be Les Plats pace. Ian notes it's a nostalgic and sober song about Belgium, or at least the low-lying western parts. Having spent a lot of time exploring Belgium and the Netherlands, it certainly captures the region, and it feels like Brel is relaying part of his being in the song. The album version is very affecting, but Ian said he prefers this live version, which is what we're going to watch. And just a little additional info, this was recorded in March of '62 and describes the North Sea as the final wasteland of Belgium's borders, then mentions the mist, the winds from all corners, and cathedrals as the only mountains his country has. Brel sees the sky as so low that a canal gets lost and so gray that a canal would hang itself. The low brooding sky brings his people humility, yet despite the gray skies and rain, he still declares his country as his. The flat country we refer to in the region is West Flanders, the region in Belgium from which his family originated. It's a region with many open fields and few trees. Because this landscape is rather typical not only of West Flanders but of a lot of the Low Countries. The Dutch version of the song is popular in the Netherlands. Okay, and he also is going to refer to the soldiers who came back home in November 1918 after the end of the First World War and whose sons came back home from the Second World War, in which Belgium, of course, used to be a war zone. So with that said, let's get to it. All right, The Flat Land, Jacques Brel. I won't go over the lyricism and content since we did that at the start, but I want to key in on this performance, man, because I think yet again that highlights what a professional Jacques was. It's just him, man, the spotlight on him coming out with his acoustic guitar. We had a little bit of orchestration that kind of teed up a bit towards the end, but I really enjoyed the way that he draws you in, man. Again, even if you don't understand what he's saying, you still want to lean in, and he's so expressive in his facials too. Like the way his mouth moves, the way he really gets wide, gets animated, and I think that type of charisma and performance goes across language barriers, cultural barriers, whatever the case may be, time barriers, as we're here decades and decades after that performance. Man, I was really impressed with the guitar playing as well. Not very complex, ramped up as the song went on with the strumming, and he just blended that with his vocals just so powerfully. Knew when to go a cappella, knew when to ramp up. Moving type of track, and I don't know what it is, man. It just every time you see this man perform, you're just drawn in. So another impressive tune right here, and now we're gonna go to Say Jean La, which Ian notes is another song whose melancholic feel and storytelling beauty is enhanced when you watch the live version. The subtle orchestration frames an impassioned performance that communicates unrequited love and loss and even mortality. This was a strong contender for number one, but the competition for these top three slots was so strong. And in this one, the narrator is going to be talking to a third party where he describes the different members of a given family in a very harsh manner, as in Gossip, a family whose existence is particularly mediocre and desperate. He criticizes in particular their immobility. The list ends with the daughter, the beautiful Frida, whom he loves passionately and whose love is reciprocal, but whose family does not allow the marriage, believing that the suitor is not worthy. Which perhaps explains why he hates them so much. In addition, he notes, but let me tell you, mister, that in that family, you don't leave, mister, you don't leave. On the other hand, although he denounces this environment throughout the song, the narrator concludes taking leave of the caller and telling him that he must get on his way home, which can be interpreted as an admission of the fact that he himself belongs to the middle class, or at least is close to it. Dang. So you're not going to get any light affair usually with Brel here. So let's watch this performance, man, and get mesmerized all over again. Wow, bringing it in here, number 3, Those People. And I mean, if you were not a fan of Mr. Jacques Brel before now, and you watch that and you're still not a fan, I don't know what to tell you, man. That was just an unbelievable live performance. Just the passion the emotion, the expressions that he was able to convey, utilizing almost like an actor too. The hand motions, and it almost, I think, at one point talking about almost like he was shampooed up. Getting, you could kind of feel that he was having to get all fancy and whatnot. That as it goes through, and I mean the best part of that track was when the orchestration really kicked up. The camera zoomed in on my dude Brel's face, man. You could see just the sweat pouring down and just the passionate dude. I could not take my eyes off the screen, man. I can't go on about how great that performance is. It was one where he had the whole audience in the palm of his hand, and I think the fact too that he is able to go from very subdued and calm, and then go up, ramp it up to 10, and just go and just unbridled passion, like at the drop of a hat, is just so impressive and underrated, man. Sure, she's got all the dough. They don't even listen to what her poor hands are telling them. I gotta tell you, sir, that with those people, they don't chat, sir. They don't chat. They count. And then he goes in talking about the great Frida, and yet the family doesn't accept him, unfortunately. So I thought that an interesting subject matter and an unbelievable live performance. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are up to our top two here, and we're gonna go with what is Brel's most famous tune. We got the Naemae Kite Pa. And Ian noted, for me, this song suffers from being overplayed and covered. It was the only Brel song I had heard before moving to Belgium and being encouraged to listen to him. I have switched this with my number one a number of times. I don't enjoy this song as much, but it's undeniably his greatest track. Doesn't quite get my number one spot, though. We're going to be watching another live performance. I don't know if I'm familiar with this one or not. I don't think I am, but who knows? And a little bit about it. It's been covered in the original French by many artists and has also been translated and performed in many other languages as well. It's considered by some as Brel's ultimate classic. It was written after his mistress threw him out of her life. She was pregnant with Brel's child, but Brel refused to acknowledge the child as his own. This mistress later had an abortion due to his actions, and in 1961, a Dutch language version sung by Brel was recorded and released. And in a 1966 interview, Brel said that this was not a love song, but rather a hymn to the cowardice of men. Wow, what a way with words Brel had. And the degree to which they were willing to humiliate themselves. He said that it would give pleasure to women who assumed it was a love song, and he understood that. Well, with that teed up, man, I'm excited to see what we got. Wow, Naemae Kite Pa, bringing it here, man. One of his best vocal performance, maybe the best vocal performance that we've had up to this point. Maybe it didn't have the biggest range here. We kept it a little bit more just kind of subdued, and yet again had that great accompaniment with the just the light piano and the strings coming in towards the second half of the track. But I was also struck too in this performance. I enjoyed how he, slowly but surely, like, was walking closer and closer to the camera until at the end, like his face was covered, in a shadow, and just it really went well with the mood of the track. Going in lyrically on this, start out, please don't leave me. We can forget everything can be forgotten. Look, it's gone already. Forget the times and the misunderstandings, the lost time, the blows, the hours that robbed our hearts of joy. Don't leave me. That's kind of the refrain that goes throughout here. He notes later on, don't leave me, I beg you. Do you understand my words? Are they senseless, the words I speak of our history? Just lines like that, man. Just like I said, across all cultures and boundaries, man. You can all put ourselves in that position just about with people that we've had in our lives, man, whether it be loves or whatever the case may be, man, where we're like, hey, man, please don't leave me. I need you more than anything. And Jacques gets that across. I don't think I had ever heard this, man, but it was an impressive tune, to be sure. Not even my favorite though, which is always fun with these lists to go through, to dive a little more into an artist's work, man. And y'all, like, Ian's done a great job on this list, man. And we're going now, ladies and gentlemen, to number one on the list, and man, it's got to be the toughest song on here, man. The toughest song for me to pronounce. I'm just gonna say "When We Only Have Love." That's the English translation, I think, roughly. Ian notes this song immediately grabbed me with its slow but steady string-based rhythm and the stirring build to the passionate chorus. Ian also notes the song evokes personal memories of me in a pub in Mons called Le Chant des Fous, and the wonderful landlord who spoke about the same level of English as I did French, making it nigh impossible to communicate. But he would let me play my choice of tunes now and then when everyone was sufficiently drunk, and playing classic Braille always went down well. The studio album version of this is superb, but I love this live version with Braille on acoustic guitar. As with all these songs, you can feel the emotion as he performs. So we'll tee this up, y'all, and then at the end, I'll note some of the honorable mentions Ian had, as well as my favorites of this incredible list. All right, number one on the list, When We Only Have Love, bringing it. As far as the performance itself, man, I'm a broken record here. Confidence too that Brel employs in these, like, you know that this man was was born to do this, and that came forth here yet again. Some really strong acoustic guitar playing as well. That rhythm in a trance right as it got to going, very beautiful. And yet again, I noticed in a lot of these tunes, starting off very slow, and then the instrumentation ramps up as we go along. Man, it makes for an intriguing, captivating listen here, and just so classy. All these performances, man, it really makes you think, like, yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be another Jacques Brel again, man. I just don't think in just society in general that it would happen. Hopefully I'm wrong, man. So it's awesome that these performances were captured to enjoy all these decades later. And yet again, as we go into lyrically, yet again talking about the theme and the subject of love. When we only have love to share with one another on the day of the great journey, this is the great love of ours. My love, you and I, to burst with joy every hour and every day. He notes, when we only have love to offer those whose only battle is to long for the day. When we only have love to draw a path and force destiny at every crossroads. From what I'm gathering, man, as he's going along, he just notes what the power of love can do in a wide variety of situations. And so that's going to bring us to the end of the list, but I want to shout out some honorable mentions right here. Ian notes there's so many albums and songs to choose from. I probably only heard half of Brel's work, so I'm sure there's more to discover, and I'm certain I haven't understood many of the double meanings and complexities and the lyrics, not being a native speaker. I enjoy the classic song Amsterdam, but it doesn't quite make it for me. We also have Jojo, we have Les Flammades, and La Ville's Se Endormate are all songs I have had on loop while I ran around the flat, muddy fields of Anu. Big time on what always seem to be rainy, gray weekends with nothing to do. Y'all see me here, man, as I'm going through. You see my brain working, my Texan brain working, and trying to not butcher these too bad. But I thank you, Ian, for bringing this to me. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Was one of my favorite lists that I've done this year, just because it's so different. I didn't know anything on the list, which is always nice, and just to see the live performance in particular were awesome. I'm gonna go with my favorites. Of course, I gotta go the number one track that we had, When We Only Have Love. I just think that was like you said, Ian, the rhythm, it was just all beautiful. I also gotta go with the C'est Jean La. I think that was the best performance, probably my favorite song in general, which came in at Ian's number 3 spot. That performance just took it to another level for me. Going all the way back as well to number 10 with J'arrive. Oh, that song yet again just showcased the enunciation and the passion that Brel can employ. And I'll also give a shout out to San Exigence, and yet again butchered that, but that was number 8. And I thought that one yet again just really lyrically, along with the organ use and the harpsichord, was brought together quite well. But I enjoyed parts of like all of these tunes, man. And I just wrapping up here, I think Jacques Brel's ability to convey that emotion, convey that passion that he's feeling in his lyrics to people that aren't even native speakers. It's a huge talent, man. The instrumentals and arrangements were fantastic, especially going from a lot of piano based stuff to strings to the accordion at points, the acoustic guitar. It just made for a very pleasant and impressive listen here. So let me know, y'all, your favorite Jacques Brel tracks down below, and be sure to give Ian some props for bringing this to the channel today. I really did enjoy it. I love exposing myself to music from all over the world, from all different times, man. And shout out to Jacques Brel for making this music that has lasted the test of time. And if you enjoyed this video, ladies and gents, be sure to give a thumbs up, hit that big red subscribe, and if you'd like to have me do a top 10 list or song reaction, you can check out our Patreon page. Shout out to the patrons like Ian who help keep this channel going. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching.